It's midday in Freetown. Good afternoon and welcome to the podium. Our quote for today says, democracy is a slow process of stumbling to the right decision instead of going straight forward. Coming up in this edition of the podium, APC to organize a dialogue on the state of our democracy, and Ministry of Health to give update on the renovation and upgrading of Connaught Hospital mortuary. Well, all these and more coming up in this edition of the podium. Be part of it. Send your messages to the number on your screen, 0300733719. This is the podium live on Slbc Television in Freetown. My name is Daphne Zainab Kamara. Welcome to the podium. But first on the podium this afternoon, it could be recalled that last month the management of Connaught Hospital, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, temporarily closed the Connaught Hospital mortuary for comprehensive renovation, and I've been joined in the studio by the Connaught Hospital Care Manager, Dr. Mark Kapoor. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the podium.
Good afternoon, and I'm happy being here. Thank you.
So let's talk about, before we go to the reasons, how far has the upgradation
process? It is still ongoing. So if percentage-wise, I can say we've gone about 60%.
So there are no more corpses there?
No. That has been done over like 2 weeks back.
Okay, since you made the announcement.
Yes, sure.
Okay, so now let's talk about what will be the new features.
So this is after renovation. This is going to be a modern standard mortuary, international standard. It is going to have new cold rooms. We're going to have 3 new cold rooms. Before we had only 1. So you're going to have 3 new cold rooms. It is going to have all of the autopsy tables. So you're going to have translucent trays. It's going to have all of the latest equipment that you could think of that is in any modern mortuary around the world.
So I wanted to ask, because from what we know, the mortuary used to be.
Some of the within. So like I said, if you go from the outside, you would think it's the same building, the same mortuary. But if you have the opportunity of going inside, then you'll see that everything that was there has been changed. Everything. The setup that was there before has been changed. Like was said, this mortuary was built decades ago. The last time there was any major upgrade in terms of renovation and facelift was in 2005. So we're talking about 20 years ago. So we changed all of the structures. We bring in some of the walls down. We join in some of the rooms to make more big compartments. Where then we are creating new compartments within the same building to make sure that it hosts modern facilities to make it look like any modern, like I'm saying, mortuary around the world.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's talk about the reasons behind all of this. We know that the Connaught Hospital in general is upgrading, but are there any reasons as to the facility not being state of the art? Was it a problem with the bodies, the corpses?
Oh yes. So there had been a lot of problems. The facility was not up to standard. The cold room, of course, is a refrigerator. So imagine if you have a refrigerator at home, you're using it for 20 years. So you know what that means. You do repairs, maintenance repairs, counter repairs, over repairs, and the equipment isn't just gonna continue working like it was working before. So this, all of these things have contributed, coupled with the disorganized management of the mortuary facility that we used to have. So we used to have a lot of horror stories, I can say. Bodies going bad, decomposed and all of that. All of these things were combined together, including issues of electricity, which we know is a national issue. So all of these were combined. Also, we have sister MDAs, the city council, for example, the Sierra Leone police, who would pick dead bodies on the streets and just deposit them at the Connaught mortuary without any form of support. So all of these were issues that were put together. And the Ministry of Health, in that light, also is on a drive to make sure that the modernized or upgrade healthcare services in general across the country. Connaught being the principal hospital, I think we've have far gone in that, in terms of facelift and improvement of services. But the mortuary was actually left behind. So we noticed that no, we have to give our people, loved ones, respected and dignified care after they have lost their lives for whatever reasons. So we have to respect the dead. So I think based on the premises of this, we decided to give an upgrade. So the Ministry of Health has been supporting very much. So they had procured some new mortuary equipment, the ones I've just mentioned. But then we sat together again and said, no, we cannot take all this high-end equipment into a building like this. Yes, so we have to do the building also. So the Ministry of Health has provided the funding, and that's why we decided to earlier on hold a press conference, because we know the importance of the Connaught Hospital mortuary is the national
it's
mortuary.
cost effective.
Yes. Yes, so this is what we are doing, and we want people to know that once the renovations and upgrade are done, we are going to have state-of-the-art services at the mortuary.
Okay, so you mentioned the case of electricity being one of the problems. Let's talk about the solutions you have proffered, because whenever you are done with the rebranding and renovation, electricity will still be a problem in Sierra Leone, because we know that's an area the government is grappling with. So let's talk about provisions you've made.
So luckily,
for constant power supply.
Yes, luckily for Connaught Hospital, for now, I can boldly tell you that we're enjoying 24 hours electricity, constant electricity.
So
we've had a solar energy that has been installed. Just a few months ago, it was commissioned somewhere around April by the Honorable Vice President and our Minister and other stakeholders. So we have a 1.2 megawatt solar facility at Connaught Hospital now. So this can run the whole facility, turn on all of our heavy duty equipment without any glitch. So we barely use EDSA power again. So we use, because the batteries, I say 1.2 megawatts. So for the technical people, they will understand what that means. So to put this in context, the whole hospital put together, all of the equipment turn on at the same time, we generate about 400 and something kilowatts. So this is almost 3 times, 1.2 megawatts is almost 3 times what the hospital consumes. So we have enough power.
So you'll extend it to the mortuary?
Definitely, the mortuary is already part of the grid.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so now let's talk about the management, because you yourself mentioned that we know what obtained formally. Let's talk about how it will be run.
Okay, so we have sat down and thought about this, and we are really determined to make sure we bring the change. So the staff, most of the staff, about 80% of them are government-paid staff. They are what we call people with PIN codes. Okay. So they are liable to be sent to other facilities across the country, because the ministry has a broader vision of improving other mortuary facilities across the country. So they are going to be sent there. So we are going to have a skeletal structure of them. Some of them are going to stay. Most of them will be sent around. We are organizing trainings for them. So we're organizing trainings for them. We are providing uniforms for them. So henceforth, after the renovations, once you go to hospital mortuary, you meet the staff, they will be in their uniforms. So they are going to have uniforms. And then with the rearrangement also, since we are government staff, it can be posted to any facility. So some of the other staff in other facilities will be posted to Connaught. Those at Connaught will be posted to other facilities. So we have a mix. We want to have a new breed, so to say, of staff who we would be able to at least put under control.
Yeah, so that it does seem like new wine in old bottles.
In old bottles, yes. That's not going to happen. We are going to have new breed of staff with a few of the old ones mixed together. Train them, because my management also believes in capacity building. That goes a long way. You know, if you are requesting from a staff to produce or provide some results, you also have to give them the tools. And one of the tools in providing results is training people. On the job training, in service training. So that is what we are going to do, train them. With my management has already started talking to professional customer service, how you talk to people, how you engage people, how you portray yourself in a public institution. So we've hired specialists in that area across the country. They are going to come, and next week, as I'm talking to you, we've already scheduled a date for the training for the mortuary staff.
Okay. So in terms of accountability, because we know previously when you go there, you just meet someone on the side, you arrange with them, you pay them the money, and you go. Everything is done. And making the hospital lose some amount of money for like maintenance purposes and all what you need money for. So for like maintenance purposes and all what you need money for. So now let's talk about
and also by specialty. That is, if you are an embalming officer, that's what will be your job. If you are an admin officer, that's what you are going to be doing. And the next day or the next shift, maybe you swap. So that is what we are going to do. And then so the receipts that we are using, receipt books also, we have made sure we've given them some added security
features. Exactly.
Yes.
So that they cannot be
cloned and whatever, because that also used to happen. So we are adding now some security features, and we've planned all of this.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be okay. So now there's going to be a dedicated office where the mourners will be taken for financial arrangements, and and no one is going to meet you by the side of the building. We are also going to continue sensitizing our people, because we know most things like that happen also from the side of the public. So we are going to make sure we continue sensitizing them.
Exactly.
These rules and regulations are not obeyed.
Okay. So now, with all of what you've explained, it seems to me I'm already envisioning the state-of-the-art facility with all the management of what I see when we travel overseas. So now let's talk about ambulance services, because most of the time you call a line and then you pick them up, like even Virtues and Colin Davis are doing. You know, so let's talk about how you would make that efficiently, so that people would not go through the hassle of finding private vehicles to do this.
Yes, thank you so very much again. I think you're really thinking along the lines of what we are doing already. So now there's a national ambulance service called the NEMS, National Emergency Medical Services. The ambulances you see all around. So their system has been revamped. They have a new manager who is very committed, and they are working on that. But there was a problem of hers. That is the ambulances that are actually dedicated for corpses, dead people, so to say, so that we understand. So now the Connaught Hospital Mortuary is going to have 2 dedicated hearses. So those ambulances are going to be stationed at the commissioning. Will announce the numbers that will be called. Whoever has a corpse at home, they'll call that number, and they'll come and pick the corpse and deposit them at the mortuary for safe keeping and preservation. So that is the plan. We have thought through all of that with the Ministry of Health, and it is going to be in place.
Okay. Now, previously when you were talking, you spoke about other institutions, with hospital, a government mortuary. So will there still be provisions for that?
Oh yeah, so like I said, these are all things that we sat together and thought about before doing what we're doing now. So we all know there's a police hospital at Kingdom.
Okay.
Of course, they're also building capacity. We can see that over the few years they've had a lot of improvement, and now they're having doctors also who can be able to do most of those things. So in this same package, so to say, the Ministry of Health has provided cold room facility for the police hospital. Yes. So with their capacity, the Ministry of Health is also going to partner with the police to make sure we help build their capacity, send more staff if possible, train more staff as the need may arise, and then all of these other, from city council, from the police, they will be taking care of.
So no longer the Connaught.
Yes, we really want to make Connaught Hospital either for corpses that are coming from that have people that have relatives who can be responsible, because that was also one of the reasons that we are having some bodies who are going bad. Because if you do, it's a public facility, they'll be there for a long time. There's no one to come and claim the bodies, and I would say honestly, we may not have the facility, we may not have the resources to take care of unknown or identified bodies for a very long time. We are also resource constrained.
Exactly.
And there's other areas now. So if we have someone, or we have somebody who can take care of that, then I think that would be very good, and some of those things will be taken care of. So now this is a partnership. Most of the post-mortem, the medical legal cases are going to be done at the police hospital. It's a security facility, as we say in Creole, then they keep secret as opposed to us the civilians. So really we have thought this through. We have discussed with the chief medical officer, who is Dr. Uis, chief medical examiner, sorry, who is Dr. Uis, who is responsible for the medical legal cases. Is actually a staff of the Ministry of Internal Affairs and not the Ministry of Health. Yes, so we've discussed with him to make sure that he is also very much happy that he'll be moving to a security conscious facility, as opposed to a public facility where everyone goes in and comes out, and even before maybe a post-mortem is done,
the results are out,
now. So exactly. So all of these things are what we really want to have to do, so that we bring sanity and good governance to that facility.
Okay, so how soon will we see the completion?
So initially we announced that the closure was for 6 weeks. I think we have done about 2 weeks, somewhere around that, or a little over 2 weeks, and we are still going to work within that target of 6 weeks.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Continue to stay with us in the program. We'll come back to you and we'll talk generally about the runnings of Connaught. So there you have a field day, because you're the one who gets to turn up. So the podium is going for a short break. When we come back, we continue with Dr. Makapua, who is the care manager of the Connaught Hospital. program you're watching is The Podium, coming to you live on Slbc Television in Freetown. Be reminded that you can be part of the show. Send your messages to 0300733719. Still with me in the studio is the care manager of Connaught Hospital, Dr. Makapua. Yes, doctor, as we were talking, can you take us through the changes now at the Connaught Hospital?
Yes, so thank you very much. So Connaught Hospital now is a new institution, so to say. As a changed institution, we have improved our services, and I think that's people can see now that this is not the Connaught we used to have 5, 6, 7, 10 years down the line, and we are still determined to make sure we improve our services. You go there now, you can see that it is, I don't say even one of it is the cleanest hospital, and we've had awards for that. So I can say that from civil society, from other members sectors in the public. So we've had awards. We are going digital. We know the world is a digital world now. So before, everything we were doing was on papers. So that's why we, through the office of the Vice President, we had what we call the electronic medical records. So now you go there, we have the system where all of your data could be entered into a computer or a tablet and be used for future, maybe if you come again to the facility, or even for research. So before, it was a big problem. We pack all stock of those files and papers. They will generate dust, they generate insects, rodents and all of that. So we are trying to reduce that. So in part of the modernization, that's why we started with making sure we go digital. Of course, we had a website that never used to be there. Create social media outlets so that people would actually know what's happening. So in the services, we've had a lot of new specialties at Connaught Hospital. Recently, we just celebrated the opening of the neurosurgery department. So these are one of the reasons that actually most of our people we are traveling to Ghana or elsewhere, for treatment, because we're not having the specialties here. So one of the major causes of death, especially in the youthful population now in this country, is road traffic accidents, Okada, vehicles and all of that. And when people get involved in these accidents, they may unfortunately hit their head. And when you hit their head, brain injury, head injury, very complex to manage. So now we have doctors who can. Yes, now we have doctors who can operate on the brain. Yes, really? in Sierra Leone, and they have done a couple of surgeries, and all of them are successful that we have done. So some of our doctors were sent to Morocco, some were sent to other countries. The ones from Morocco have returned, and now they are working. So we have that specialty. Of course, dialysis was there, but it was struggling. Now the dialysis center, because also now with the high increase in hypertension, we see a lot of kidney issues. And of course, some of our youthful population taking all sort of substances also is affecting their kidneys. So we're having kidney failures. So the dialysis is the one that actually helps us as an artificial kidney. It was there, a lot of issues. Now it's working constantly 24 hours, offering services with all of their supplies. So that also has been revamped. The radiology, when we talk of medical diagnostics, many times the doctors actually depend on medical diagnostics to function. So the X-rays, the CT scan, the ultrasound, all of these other investigations never used to. So if you go to the radiology building now, we are also revamping it. It is under complete overhaul, renovations for a CT scan. We've already had the ultrasound, which is a Doppler ultrasound, meaning it can see your vessels, that's your veins and your arteries. The ones that we used to have was all just a general ultrasound that can see your organs. Now these ones can see your vessels. And the vessels, when I mean in humans, are your arteries, your veins, and all of that. So we are having that. We revamped that system. We have a stroke unit. Talking of hypertension again, which could lead to stroke. Most of our people. So now, before all of these patients with stroke, we are just we're just putting in one general ward with all of the other patients. So now we have a dedicated ward where people with stroke will go, and our staff that were there, we send them to Ghana, send them to other countries around the sub-region to go and train, because those people had developed those facilities for a very long time. So they gained knowledge, they came back, and just in 1 year, it would amaze you to know that when we did the statistics, we did the survey, the death rates of stroke patients reduced by 32%, just in 1 year. So we have all of these facilities at Connaught Hospital now. We have, of course, cardiologists. Of course, we all know Dr. Russell, but now we have Dr. Sorikonte, we have Dr. Kuruma. All of these are cardiologists now. Infectious disease subspecialists we have. We also have, for example, for the first time, a dermatologist. That's a doctor who specializes on the skin. We all have them at Connaught now, and all of them are sitting clinics, all of them are seeing patients. So these are the facilities. We've improved on oncology. Also, we are seeing a high incidence in the rate of cancer. So we've improved on our oncology units. So now we have medical oncology, we have the surgical oncology. So if maybe you need operation, maybe breast need to be removed for whatever reasons. So and we give chemotherapy. So now we are building the system now. Arrangements are in place with the Ministry of Health to also have the radiotherapy. So now we have chemotherapy at Connaught Hospital.
Okay, so what's used to obtain there too, there are doctors there serving the government, but most of the time they'll refer you to their private clinics. Is that still the case?
Yes. So I think one of the reasons that was happening, because the facility, to be honest, was not that equipped. And I believe as a doctor, one of your main goals is to make sure that, yes. So you have to send your patient to where they have the best labs. You have to send your patient to where they could do the best x-rays. So those are one of the reasons. If you go to our lab now, recently the vice president was at the facility we showed, and it was on the media. So the lab is one of the best in the sub-region, I can tell you. Yes.
Because I've been there.
Yes.
Previously,
it was nothing to talk about. So even myself as a doctor, I would send my patients elsewhere. That's just the fact. But now our lab is partnering with the global lab in Minnesota, in the USA. So all of the equipment that they're having at that very same lab is the equipment that we're having here. So we do all of the other tests.
So you do all the tests?
Including even DNA, we do it at Connaught now.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow.
So we have all the latest equipment. People can go there, they see some of the videos on the media.
So the next time we invite you, we'll ask you for search, so that
definitely,
you see that it's not a storytelling.
It's not a story. This is a new Connaught, so all of these things have improved. So now we've sat down with the doctors and tell them, now we have these services now, so you don't have the right to see a patient at Connaught and send that patient elsewhere. So, and all of them have come to consent. They are complying. Because we put measures in place to make sure if it is a service that we have here and you send a patient for, just for any other reasons, then you'll be held accountable. And everybody is complying to that, and that's why people are seeing some of the improvement that are happening at Connaught Hospital.
So now, because this is a news and current affairs program, we're not going to talk about prices. But now let's just talk comparatively the affordability for the services you offer with regards to other hospitals, especially private hospitals.
Of course, prices are very, very much competitive. Even maybe 75, yes, they are very affordable for compared to other facilities. Of course, we will not name them,
because we know that
it's 10 times
the hospital people depend on it. It's not all that can afford private hospitals. It's
10 times lower. So I can tell you, I am a surgeon. I'm a urologist. So if I do a prostate surgery at Connaught Hospital, someone is going to pay around 3,000-4,000. And same me, if I do that same surgery at the private facility, someone is going to pay 30,000.
Wow.
30,000. So I'm telling you,
so
over
they
10
do that
times.
now here.
Yes.
Because I remember previously people had to go to India and all.
Yeah. So most of these things are here now. So the thing is, Connaught Hospital is the only hospital in country general where you will be seen by at least 6 cadres of doctors. You don't get that anywhere. So we have the house officers. These are doctors that are just graduating from school. The medical officers, the registrars, the senior registrars, the specialists, and the consultants. And every medical team at Connaught has these cadres of doctors. So that's why now we work in teams, not by individual doctors. So it will be very difficult, for example, for a mistake to be done, because you are seen by 6 cadres, from the highest to the lowest.
So check.
Yes. So that's why when you go, the junior doctors will see you first, ask you some questions, and then send you to their superiors or to their seniors. So you can only get that at Connaught Hospital, because that's why it's a teaching hospital. So you have all of these cadres of doctors there, from the house officer to the medical officer to the registrar. The registrar is a specialist in training, to a specialist, to a consultant. So we have all of these people. And it's no secret that most of these doctors are also running some of these other private facilities. But Connaught is their primary station. So we always ask ourselves, why not come to Connaught instead, to be seen where they spend most of their time, instead of going to the private where all of these things would happen. But like I say, most of these things used to happen because the facility was not up to standard. It was not too clean, to be honest. Environmentally, it was not friendly. So you wouldn't want to go there. So that is why our target now is to make sure that we continue keeping up with the cleanliness. You can see that now we created gardens, we planted flowers, because we all know the importance of nature also. Nature helps in the process of healing. So all of these things are going, instead of having dust during the dries, all of those places, we've planted flowers, so at least they'll bloom, they'll be watered, and patient can sit around. We created gardens where people will sit in the evenings, in the afternoons, and get some fresh air. So all of these things are geared towards our patient-centered care.
So as we round up, let's talk about the prevalent illnesses that you tackled at the hospital.
As a national hospital, of course, so since it's a tertiary, more concentrated on surgical and medical areas, so we do not see a lot of children except those with surgical condition. But amongst the childhood population, the prevalence is still malaria, unfortunately. We're fighting on it. But for the adults, it's hypertension, or what we call cardiovascular conditions. That's diseases to do with your heart and all of it. They are still leading, and they are still the major contributors to death. So most strikingly is amongst the youthful population, I've said that, is road traffic accidents. Mostly with Okada and all of this. Okada is leading. Yes. So motorbikes. So we really have to, as a nation, as a country, we really have to pay some attention to that, because it's causing a lot of death amongst our youthful, and productive population.
So now, as a doctor, can you just to enlighten the public on the preventive measures of the most prevalent, like you said, hypertension, because it's common nowadays?
Yeah, so hypertension, as we say, is a lifestyle disease. So the risk factors, for example, if your parent had it, you had high chances of having it. Your senior siblings had it, you have high chances of having it. But why do we say it's a lifestyle disease? Because you could still have those risk factors, but be able to control it. So as far as hypertension is concerned, number one is diet. So we have to watch what we eat. This is, for example, what we eat now: salt, Maggi. All of Maggi and salt are the same. We say to our people, they're the same. So we have to reduce that. We have to make sure we take a lot of fluid, drink a lot of water, eat more vegetables, more fruits. At least those things are at our disposal. It's not in the West where you have to buy them at the supermarket. This you can go at your backyard and get those things. So we do more exercise. And exercise for the elderly population, we are not saying go to the gym and start lifting weights. You can just walk around instead of sitting at home. Even for people like you who work in the offices, you don't sit for too long on the chair. Sit for some time when there's no meeting, you can move around the office, go downstairs, come upstairs. So it's very important to do that. And of course, once you have been diagnosed, you still do not adhere to those things, then medication. So the problem we have with medications also with our people, we treat every disease in this country as malaria. Why do I say this? So when we have any sickness or any illness, we take our medications for 3 days. 3 days and
not even the complete dose.
Yes, not even the complete dose. So all of these things have to be taken into cognizance, and then put them into practice. For the accident, of course, I think the government has to do more to make sure
the roads,
control the speed limit, make sure they enforce the use of helmets and all of these things. So I think they would help. But for hypertension, it's a lifestyle disease. We call them diseases of civilization.
So what's the most common drug people use for that?
Well, there's no
affordable.
Yes, there's no most common drug. The drugs are medications. They are chemicals. I always tell people. So they react on you differently as compared to how they react. So that is why it's always good to consult.
Do a test and then
we do a test. We do your urine test. We do your blood test. We do your what we call your electrolytes and all of this. So once we see that, they will know the right medication that you should use. But let people do hypertension medications are not over the counter. So you don't just go and buy, and then you have to consult with a medical doctor to make sure they do, and make sure insist that they do your labs, your urine, your blood, and some other analysis to see exactly so that you'll be given the right sign. Because our people also have that. My people, especially people in the villages, you give them medications, they keep it. A relative or a neighbor comes and complains, hey, now this one I'll be using, so use them. So I think all of these things are things that we need to have to continue sensitizing our people to make sure they really know the right thing to do.
Okay, so finally, is there a hotline to contact Connaught?
There is a hotline for Connaught. Unfortunately, I don't know if I have the time to look at my phone.
Okay, well, there is. So you'll inform people. And
yes, we'll make sure there is. It is on the website. Okay. It's on the website. So anyone that goes to www.connaughthospital.org, you see most of the other information that you may need to know about the hospital.
Well, many thanks to you, Dr. Makapua, the care manager of Connaught Hospital, which is the main referral and teaching hospital in Sierra Leone, in Freetown too. So that's how we end the podium for this afternoon. Our quote for today says, democracy is a slow process of stumbling to the right decision instead of going straight forward. My producer has been Joseph Stanley. My name is Daphne Zainab Kamal. The podium returns tomorrow, same time. Goodbye. Have a blessed day.
Do you know the TV show that brings to you the decision makers who determine and shape the country's policies